What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Across the Pond, where two American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football. I'm the host, Richard Radillo, joined by the man with the noggin right across the table from me, Jacob Bullard. How you doing, Jacob?
Greetings. I'm doing okay. I'm
Very-
tired of the rain. It's only been raining for like a day.
It's been very wet,
But I'm
here
tired
in
of the
Southern
rain.
California for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely not used to this weather, obviously. But yes, we almost had we had a lake in front of my house for a little bit there, and I had to drain the thing, and now we don't have one.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it, drain the swamp.
Yes. Oh. It was kind of swampy, actually. There's a lot of dirt out there. So, yes, if you are joining us for the first time for Across the Pond, like I said, it's where two American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football, which is really just the Premier League and then some big games around Europe. Sometimes we talk about Champions League, but we're not going to do it until the draws for after the group stages. But regardless, we are going to go in our review. Young man, we got a lot of review today. We got two sets of match days to review. We got what, match day
14 and 15.
Okay, 14 and 15 to review. We are going to start with 14, obviously, which starts on Saturday, December 1st.
There was a Friday game.
There was a Friday game. I forgot, apparently. Friday, November 30th.
I know, it was so long ago.
It was. It seems like it because of all the set of games we had on Tuesday and Wednesday. But we shall get into it. Cardiff played Wolves. Cardiff won 2-1 with a goal starting by... Okay, I'm going to always butcher his name. I can never say his
I feel
name.
like this is the one where you always correct me.
No, it's not. But it's Daughtry.
Okay, whatever. I still think that it's
Or
just like an accent thing.
Daughtry or
Okay,
something
I still
like
think
that.
it's
I
just
don't
an
know.
accent thing.
But he scored the first goal of the game in the 18th minute and then it was followed by Cardiff's 2 goals by Aaron Goodnarsson. Right?
Gunnarsson? Yeah, Gunnarsson.
Goodnarsson. I'm going to say it like that.
Sure, say it however you
In
want.
the 65th minute. And Junior Hoylett in the 77th minute. I'm pretty sure I said that
Rhymes
right.
with toilet.
Yes, it kind of does, actually. But yes, Cardiff did not win possession with 48% possession, and Wolves possessed the ball 52% of the time. 17 goals with 3 on target for Cardiff, with 15 shots and 4 on target for Wolves. Not a very good outing for Wolves, obviously. Two bad weeks, kind of, in a way, or 2 bad match days in a row. I forgot who they played the week before.
They've had a pretty bad run in general over the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Wolves have been like struggling for results.
Yeah, definitely the last month. Yeah, they lost to Huddersfield, and then they lose points to Cardiff, so 2 bottom teams. But obviously we're going to get into the next game, which is probably a good pick-me-up.
Don't spoil it.
But regardless, not a good performance. Good performance for Cardiff, finding the back of the net. I don't even remember this game.
The second goal was ridiculous. It was like edge of the box, like far left side. He curled it in the top right corner.
Okay.
Like nothing that could have been done about that.
I watched the highlights twice, and I don't remember any of
Okay.
that because there's so many highlights to watch.
This is one of those games where it looked like obviously Wolves have been kind of on a pretty bad run going into this game, with like the loss to Huddersfield, the draw with the draw with Arsenal is a good result, but then like losing to Spurs the way that they did, stuff like that. So like when Doherty got that early goal, it seemed like, okay, this is going to be more like the Wolves we saw in the beginning of the season. But it just like that second goal never came.
Mm-hmm.
They just kept pushing, and it never came. And then eventually Cardiff kind of like outlasted them and then wore them down at the other end and got like 2 goals in the middle of the second half. So it was a good result for Cardiff to help drag them off the bottom of the table. And a couple of good finishes for their 2 goals. And Wolves will be disappointed yet again.
Yes, they are very much avoiding the relegation, even though they're very close to relegation zone. Let's keep moving, son. Here we go. Just because Manchester United is the team I have favored,
Biased.
so it'll be the top team on this.
Biased.
So we got Southampton versus Manchester United, a 2-2 draw.
Ha.
It was at St. Mary's, with the goals opened up by Stuart Armstrong in the 13th minute, then followed by Cedric Suarez,
Suarez, I think.
Suarez?
Yeah, I think it literally is Suarez.
Suarez. Okay. Well, he's Portuguese, so nothing makes sense. Then it was followed by 2 goals by Manchester United by Romelu Lukaku in the 33rd minute, and then a goal by Anders Herrera in the 39th. Southampton possessed the ball 40% of the time to Manchester United 60. 16 shots with 6 on target for Southampton, 11 with 5 on goal for Manchester United. Oh my goodness. Lineup wise, when I was like, why we have so many midfielders in the first place? And then I actually looked at the formation, and then I was like, okay, this makes sense, I guess. But I think, it's been the last couple of weeks actually where we've set up where I'm just like, are we setting up to lose? You know what I mean? Like, are we? I know we're like we probably prepared for the game, but are we setting up to succeed with these lineups? Just defensively, it just didn't make any sense. I don't know. The game obviously was opened up with Southampton just going wild and scoring those first 2 goals. An excellent free kick, I believe.
It was. The second goal was a free kick.
The second goal was a free kick. But then just like it didn't feel like we were there. We just had a bunch of guys in like blue kits the whole time. It was kind of depressing, honestly. I know Young got like the yellow card, so he wasn't able to play on Wednesday, which was yesterday. But regardless, it just very sloppy. It also felt like when we got the ball at our feet, we couldn't even control the ball in a way. I don't know if that makes any sense. Anytime we were trying to make passes or anything like that. Just another bad performance by almost everybody, unfortunately. But again, like, are we trying to lose in a way? You know what I mean?
There's always been that. There was even Mourinho's 3rd season at Chelsea. There was always kind of like that murmur that he was just like trying to get fired so that he got his payout for like the rest of the contract.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. I don't know if it's necessarily that bad right now at United, but it feels like it sometimes. And it was a pretty terrible start to the game, obviously going 2-0 down so quickly. But like Southampton were all over Manchester United in the first like 20, 25 minutes. To their credit, I mean, they fought back 2-2, and then the second half was pretty drab, I would say, pretty boring. I think off the top of my head, I think De Gea had like one really good save to his right, like bottom right.
Yeah, I think it was Armstrong that shot.
Maybe, I don't remember.
Yeah,
It was like mid-second half. So I definitely think that Southampton probably were the more likely to win this game. But 2-2 might be a fair result, just given how the second half was kind of just bland.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately.
And a good run, I think it was Marcus Rashford that like just barely kept the ball in and then scored it back to Herrera for the second goal, I think. So
yes.
If he doesn't like hustle that out, like this is easy like a 2-1 loss.
Yeah, and it's weird to see him because it's like a roller coaster in a way with him, where some games he gets to have those kind of opportunities, but some games he doesn't get those kind of opportunities, which is like very frustrating. And like he's one of the few guys that seems like he's actually like trying. Like you just see it in just the way he plays. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll get into it for the next game as well when we talk to go back to United versus forgot who they play.
Arsenal.
Yeah. So let's keep moving, sir. We got Manchester City versus Bournemouth. Manchester City won 3-1 with goals opened up in the 16th minute with Bernardo Silva getting the first one. Then Callum Wilson answered back for Bournemouth in the 44th. But Raheem the Dream Sterling scores in the 57th. And Ilkay. Oh my God.
Ilkay.
Ilkay.
Ilkay. Ilkay.
Okay. Ilkay. So the Y is an I?
Yeah.
Okay. Ilkay Gundogan. I was going to say Goodmanson. I don't know why in my head. Scored in the 79th minute. Manchester City obviously possessed the ball more than Bournemouth with 73% 27 going to Bournemouth. 16 shots with 6 on target for Manchester City. 4 with a 1 on goal for Bournemouth. That one was apparently very important for them because they got a goal.
Yeah. I think that the stats don't show actually how well Bournemouth played in this game. I think this was a pretty at least for Manchester City standards, this was a pretty mediocre performance. It kind of felt like there was a little bit of fatigue and just like general kind of nonchalant attitude towards this game, especially in the first half. Bournemouth were very dangerous on the break. City were really sloppy with their passing. Bournemouth were just missing that final pass. Like only having 4 shots, 1 on target, does not give them enough credit to like all the dangerous counterattacks they have, where they like just missed the last pass, or like Ederson came out to get the through ball, or stuff like that, where like they didn't end up with a shot at the end of it, but like it was a goal scoring opportunity.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, well, they have like a good combination of guys that are able to basically have the ability, but also they have a back line that can soak up a lot of pressure as well. Obviously, they weren't as successful as they usually are, giving up 3 goals. But
they were really except for the third one, they were like super scrappy goals.
And like what you offer with King, Callum Wilson, Fraser, you offer a lot more attacking than most teams actually, because these guys have actually been very successful in those attempts. And as we'll get through the next set of their games, or the next game for them, we'll explain that further.
Yeah.
But let's keep moving, young man. Huddersfield versus Brighton. Brighton won 2-1. Okay, no, never mind. I was like, did they get another red card in this game? But no, they didn't. Oh, the scoring was up and up in the first minute. I think this is like the quickest goal of the year so far, maybe.
Probably up. It's probably up there.
By Matthias Jordanson. Or is it said different, or is it like a Hoiberg? How's it pronounced? Is it Jorgensen?
Maybe, yeah. It is the same character, like the yeah. I'm not sure.
But it was unfortunately followed by a red card by Steve Mooney in the 32nd minute, and then a goal in extra time at the end of that by Shane Duffy, and then Florin Undone scored in the 69th minute, ladies and gentlemen. 69. Good old 69. This guy's getting kind of hot over here. As we go to the next Brighton game. Spoilers. Huddersfield possessed the ball 32% of the time to Brighton's 68. 7 shots with 2 on target for Huddersfield. 14 with 6 on target for Brighton. A very good win for Brighton, obviously. I don't remember watching this game, but I actually watched a bit of it on YouTube. The extended highlights. I got to sneeze.
Extended highlights.
But you brought up the challenge of this one, because that was like the kind of like the big thing of this game, the red card.
Yeah, that's what this whole game.
The outrage.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's a red card. But I think it's more like he gave the card because of the intent of the tackle, I guess, is what I'm saying.
It wasn't even that aggressive of a tackle. It's not like he went to break his leg. He literally went for the ball. His boot was a little bit high, but he caught him probably in the shin pad with the toe of his cleat. It was not. I think that moment ended up deciding this game, because Huddersfield in the first half were applying a lot of pressure. Then they got derailed by this red card, and then they were down a man the whole game, and Brighton kind of just wore them down.
Yes.
I think that that decision just changed this whole game. So if I was Huddersfield, I would feel a little bit hard done by that decision. I think it was like we said before we started recording. I think that red card and the straight red that Jagielka got in the first or second game of the season. I think it was against West Ham.
No, Wolves.
Oh, Wolves. That's right. I think both of those are really soft. I think so. I think Mooney should be considered a little bit unlucky. A lot of it unlucky, maybe. I don't know if they'll. I guess it's too late now, because this is 2 games ago now. But I was thinking maybe they could have reviewed it and overturned the red card, but they didn't. So.
There was enough time.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But let's keep moving. Crystal Palace versus Burnley. We got a 2-0 victory for Crystal Palace, with a goal in the 16th minute by James MacArthur. And then a goal by the Rocket Foot man himself, Andros Townsend, in the 77th minute. And Crystal Palace possessed the ball 59% of the time, with Burnley having 41%. 29 shots with 9 on target. Jesus. Oh, my God. For Crystal Palace. And 4 shots with 0 on target for Burnley. I think this is like...
Their long balls were ineffective.
Yes. I think this is the first game we've reviewed this year where we've had 0 shots on target for a team.
That's probably not true.
I'll double check that.
I'm pretty sure that's happened so far this season. Cardiff didn't score a goal for like how long?
I'll go through the Cardiff games after we're done recording and double check that. But regardless, still kind of a weird stat to look at.
There's probably even a United game without a shot on target.
Oh no, we've had like at least one. We've definitely have come out of games with just 1 on target.
Okay.
But anyways, I already went to the next game. Sorry.
Dust.
No, I don't know what I was doing. Yeah, just a rocket. That's all. That's like the highlight of this game.
Yeah,
a rocket, and Burnley kind of not offering anything.
Yeah, every once in a while, Crystal Palace put together a performance like this that makes you believe they should be solidly mid-table, and like that they should be able to dominate teams like Burnley and that are typically towards the bottom end of the table. But they just can't seem to get that consistency this year to put on. I mean, the 29 shots that they had in this game is probably the same as, like, you could probably put together 7 games combined that they didn't have 29 shots in. Yeah. It feels like. So Crystal Palace is obviously a good 3 points for them, but they need to kind of figure something out to get a little bit more towards this result on average, a little bit more consistency.
It's probably their midfield and their backline that's not offering the consistency.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. So obviously when you have Wilfred Zaha on the field, like, you're going to be decent going forward. And then Burnley, like, they live and die by the long ball. So in games, if people are just getting clearances and it's not working, like, I don't really feel that they have a adequate plan B.
Yeah, this is true, unfortunately. Regardless, let's keep moving. We got Leicester City versus Watford. Leicester City won at 2-0 with a goal opening up in the 12th minute by a penalty by good old Jamie Vardy. Then a goal followed after that in the 23rd minute by James Maddison. And then an unfortunate late red card for Etienne Capoue in the 90th minute. Leicester possessed the ball 38% of the time to Watford 62. A stat that Leicester likes to see. 7 shots with 3 on target for Leicester. 8 shots with 0 on target for Watford. So we have had another game.
There you go. That's 2. Just in 1 week. 2 week.
That's the first time we've seen this for sure. That we reviewed with 0 on target.
I don't know, dude.
No. In the same week, 2 games.
I don't know, dude. There's some pretty terrible teams out there.
I know, but that's just this year. That's what I'm saying. This year, probably last year, definitely for sure. The red card was.
I don't even remember the tackle. I can't picture it.
Yeah, I know.
It was a straight. I was looking to see if it was a double yellow or a straight, and it was a straight red. So, was this the headbutt? Or was that from? See, and now I'm getting like all the games mixed up from.
This week had a lot of red cards actually. It had more than a few.
Yeah.
Because Mooney, Capoue, and then there's another red card in there. I forgot who it was. Or maybe I'm thinking of this week.
I don't know.
Yeah, because we're bouncing around a lot.
Yeah. In any case, I don't really remember what the tackle is, being so late in the game. Probably something like, you're 2-0 down with a couple minutes left. Like, I'm sure whatever happened, it was the sort of tackle that should have never been made. Like, you've already lost the game. There was no reason to get yourself like a 3-match ban for like 2 minutes left in the game, So a good result for Leicester. Vardy started this game after not having started the previous few games because I think he had an injury and then he was sick. So like I know he came off the bench to score a penalty a couple weeks ago. And James Maddison still having a great season right now for Leicester, just contributing on all sides basically.
I remember though Foster gave up the penalty on Vardy. He came in with his hands.
Yeah.
I'm just I read the commentary. I was trying to remember. It came back to me. Brain blast. But yeah, Maddison had the red card, but he didn't play last game, which I think it was it wasn't a. There was some kind of game in between this where he actually played and it negated the red card, I think, or not negated, but he sat out for that game, so he was able to play this one.
Okay, yeah.
And then Jamie Vardy's been obviously injured. and they've had to put in or had to rely on Madison or Kelechi Iheanacho, who hasn't kind of.
No, I would say that like they've been relying on James Madison.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I know.
Iheanacho's been playing, but like
Yeah.
not contributing near to the level that
And then Okazaki is nowhere to be found too.
he played today.
I know, but I'm just saying he just hasn't been consistently playing.
Yeah.
But
And I would think Iheanacho has not worked out nearly to the level that I thought it was going to. Like 2 years ago, that 20 whatever million that they paid for Iheanacho, like I would have said that was a good deal, because it looked like he was maybe Iheanacho is just a case of like he benefited from having such an excellent team around him that he may I mean the reality it appears is that he's not as good as he appeared to be, maybe because of the people that were around him and supplying him at City compared to Leicester.
Yeah, well, and then also there's not really that good of an assist player. Like James Madison can offer that, but he also is a little selfish and he scores his own goals as well.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
You can't.
And they don't have Mahrez anymore, so
yeah, that as well.
Call me. All right, sorry.
Let's keep moving. We got Newcastle versus West Ham. This is technically the beatdown of the week, I guess.
Yeah.
3-0 victory for West Ham. We got Chicharito, a.k.a. Javier Hernandez, scored in the 11th minute and the 63rd, and then followed by an extra time goal in the 93rd minute by Felipe Anderson. 59% possession going to Newcastle, 41 going to West Ham. 16 shots with 4 on target for Newcastle, 7 with 4 on target for West Ham. Very efficient, apparently.
Yeah.
The West Ham team, I think we were expecting in the beginning of the year, has finally shown up, as we'll get into the next game as well. Very, very good outing for them. I just think they're just clicking, but also they're also playing lower end opponents. Maybe that's what it is as well. But I think it's good for them to start to get that confidence to build against these lower end opponents. So when they actually play top 8, they're able to basically compete and kind of have the quality that I think Pellegrini's been kind of moving them towards in that direction, I guess. And they have the players around them. I just think, let me double check their formation real quick. Okay, yeah. So yeah, they've basically changed their formation as well to the 4-4-2 instead of the 4-1-4-1.
Yeah, I guess they ran with the 2 strike, like Chicharito and Arnautovic up together.
Yeah,
which hasn't been typical anyway for them. Like you said, the 7 shots 4 on target, but getting 3 goals, so a very clinical performance from West Ham, more along the lines of what we've been expecting this whole time. And Newcastle just continue to struggle in front of goal. I mean, 16 shots, only 4 on target. They just can't seem to find the back of the net when they need to. So they're going to kind of flounder down there towards the bottom until they can sort that out.
Yes, definitely. They need to score goals when they need to score goals. And, I mean, I have to say, like, obviously we're talking earlier about this game, about West Ham finally showing up. But West Ham hasn't been a team to show up against lately, so they've kind of should have been able to get some kind of result out of this against a team like this, just as the way they've been playing. But West Ham is getting hot, as we'll talk in the next game, or next match day. Let's get into the next game. We got the other London derby. We got Chelsea versus Fulham. Chelsea won 2-0 with a goal in the 4th minute by Pedro and another goal in the 82nd minute by Ruben Lotus Croft. Lotus. I can't talk. Lotus.
What are you?
Loftus. Loftus Cheek. Jesus. Oh my God. Oh, that hurts my brain. Yes. Scored in 82nd minute. 66% possession to Chelsea to Fulham's 34%. 16 shots with 9 on target for Chelsea. 9 with 4 on goal for Fulham.
I would say
it's a game that this result should have happened in the first place. They probably should have scored more goals, but
right. That's what I was gonna say. This is definitely the expected result. And this was Ranieri's first game back, right?
second game.
Second game back? Okay.
He won
So
this,
he's still
last week.
obviously going to be
week
making some
before.
changes. But I think Fulham did actually perform better. I think Chelsea ran the risk for a really long time. Like, they got that early goal from Pedro, and then there was a really long period in this game, basically right up until the very end, where, like, Fulham were still hanging in there, which is different from the Fulham that we've been seeing. Like, this was not the same sort of Fulham that, like, gave up 4 to Cardiff or, stuff like that. So there definitely, I think, was an improvement for them in this game, and they were keeping themselves kind of hanging around. Obviously, once it went 2-0, the game was dead, but they at least, like, kept their foot in the door for a much longer period of time.
Agreed.
So I would say Chelsea will look to kind of kill games off a little bit more quickly.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving. London Derby. North London Derby, sorry. I apologize to you Arsenal Tottenham fans. 4-2 victory for Arsenal with a goal opening up in the 10th minute with a penalty by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Did I say it wrong again? Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, sorry. And also scored in the 56th minute. But before we get to that goal, Eric Dyer scored in the 30th minute, and then another penalty by Harry Kane in the 34th minute. And then good old Alexandra Lacazette, or Lacazette, however we want to pronounce it, scored in the 74th minute to take the lead. Then it was followed by a Lucas Torreira goal in the 77th minute, and then an unfortunate red card for Jan Vertonghen in the 85th minute. I don't remember that red card, but
It was a second yellow.
Second yellow? Okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was a bit of red cardness going on this week.
Lots of suspensions.
59% possession going to Arsenal, with 41 going to Tottenham. 22 shots with 7 on target for Arsenal. 11 with 6 on goal for Spurs. I think the way Tottenham, Arsenal set up kind of somewhat set them up for success. It seems like anyone that kind of sets up with a 3-man back against Spurs has like a fighting chance, it seems like. Because it'll form, like, it'll be a 3-man back when they're attacking, but it'll be a 5 when they're defending. And it seems like they're able to defend that a little bit easier, even though they gave up 2 goals. It's just like the way Pochettino kind of runs his, like, system in a way where you're kind of pushing or their wingers are pushing out and then they're coming back in with, like, crosses into, like, the midfielders. But yeah, very good win for Arsenal. Put on, like, I think Lacazette was a sub, right?
He was, yeah. He came on for Alex Iwobi.
Super sub.
Yeah.
But he's been, like, the super sub for them lately, actually. Because I think he helped score the goal against Manchester United, as we're going to get into that game. But good win for Arsenal. Good showing for Unai Emery, kind of showing up to his first North London derby. Unfortunate for Tottenham, obviously. But that's all I have to say for that.
I think that this was probably, I would put this in probably the top 2 performances for Arsenal this season. They started to fall apart a little bit. They got the early penalty that Aubameyang put away, but when Spurs were 2-1 up, like, Spurs came roaring back in, like, the second half of that first half, and it looked like Arsenal were kind of on the verge of crumbling, but then they got into halftime, kept it 2-1, and then, whatever changes Unai Emery made, like in the halftime team talk or whatever, and then, like, bringing on Lacazette, made the difference, because the second half was probably the best half that Arsenal's played this season. They were just all over Spurs, just pushing people forward, dynamic attacking football. So good on them for coming back the way that they did. Spurs, again, struggling in big games against fellow top 6 members. I think it's been, I remember when I was watching this broadcast, they were talking about how long it's been since Spurs have a win at Arsenal, at the Emirates. So that streak is going to continue, obviously, until next year. And yeah, just like I said, Spurs struggling against fellow top 6 teams, and those are the teams they need to beat if they really want to. This was where I think this is the point where Spurs are, like, officially, like, out of the title. Not that I personally thought they ever were, but like they were kind of hanging in there. Like there was a while where it was like 5-6 points separating, like City, Liverpool, Chelsea, Spurs.
Yeah, there would have to be
sort
some
of
kind of
thing.
drastic collapse, but that's probably not going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
Just the pace that Liverpool and Manchester City are setting, you kind of have to be performing every week.
Yeah.
And you can't be performing like this against top 6 opponents. Like obviously, like the way City is set up against like Liverpool, that was like a way to set up so they don't drop points.
Mm-hmm.
And the way Liverpool,
Also, we don't just get like run over.
yeah, and then Liverpool also setting like they're just obviously that's like their style of playing. They're a little bit more conservative this year, a little bit. I feel just the way they're just not as the rhythm isn't there. I guess they kind of like slow the tempo down
I just feel like
a smidge.
they feel that they don't need. See, Liverpool last year and the year before, it was like they need 3 or 4 because they're going to concede 2.
Yeah.
And now I think they're at the point where they really only need 2 or 3. They might concede the odd goal, but defensively they're a lot better than they used to be. So I think that's kind of just lended to the conservatism.
Yeah,
a little bit.
but also that's put them on pace for where they are right now.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll get to Liverpool here in a second.
But anyways, yes, we got the Merseyside derby. Wow, there was two good derbies this week. Liverpool won 1-0. A goal.
This is literally the dumbest goal I've ever
in the 96th minute by Divock Origi. I think that's how you say his first name.
Yeah.
In the like I said, in the 96th minute, good old Pickford. 58% possession going to Liverpool with 42 going to Everton. 16 shots with 3 on goal for Liverpool. 9 shots with 3 on target for Everton. It's pretty boring game overall until the end of it. Obviously Everton knew what they needed to do to try to get a point at least out of this. I don't think they're truly expecting to get another point or more than one. But yeah, just a very bush league, as you would say, mistake by Pickford. I understand why he would try to do that to not concede the corner, but
it wouldn't have been a corner.
No, because he touched it.
Well, he did. If he'd have just let it hit the crossbar and go behind, it would not have been a corner. Because Virgil van Dijk whiffed. He's Van Dijk, because Van Dijk got the assist for this. Like he basically nearly whiffed, and then the ball popped up and hit the crossbar.
Oh, I don't know. Well, that's what I heard from the commentators and their reasoning.
I don't think it would have been a corner if he didn't touch it.
Regardless, still a terrible mistake by Pickford that kind of basically lost him the game. And of all people, Origi, I think it was his first appearance of the year, which is kind of insane.
It's one of those people you almost forgot he was even still there.
Yeah. He's made 0 appearances apparently. Maybe he's made an appearance in the Champions League. Probably not actually.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Because Sturridge has been in that spot as the backup for Firmino or Salah. But yeah, it's honestly the highlight of that game was that unfortunate mistake.
Yeah, it's one of the craziest goals I've ever seen. I mean, you could tell just by Van Dijk's reaction when he hit the ball, he thought it was going to go out for a goal kick, I think. So he turned around, he was all disappointed. He started jogging back to go defend or whatever, and then Origi put it in, and everyone went crazy. Both of these teams had their chances to put a goal in. Both of them had a couple of clear cut chances throughout the game to go 1-0 up.
Sorry,
but just neither of them were able to take it. So I think the 1-0 win for Liverpool was a little bit unlucky for Everton, obviously, with that Pickford mistake. Because you could replay that scenario another 100 times, and Liverpool probably don't score.
Mm-hmm.
So
more 1,000 times.
Yeah, it was just that much of a fluke.
Yeah,
and I was really disappointed personally, just because Liverpool were literally seconds from dropping points.
That was like watching for you non-American people, watching Stephon Diggs score that touchdown last year in the playoffs against the Saints. Where it was just it was not even a Hail Mary. It was just throw the ball, and it's just he ended up scoring.
Yeah.
That was exactly how that felt when I watched that. I was like, well, that just happened.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But yeah, Liverpool walks away with 3 points and the bragging rights for the Merseyside derby for 2018. Let's keep moving. we finally are getting to match day 15, which started on December 4th. This Tuesday. Today is Thursday. We got the first game of this match day with West Ham versus Cardiff City. West Ham win 3-1 with 2 goals from Lucas Perez in the 49th and 54th minute, then followed by a goal by Michael Antonio in the 61st minute, and then a goal in extra time in the 95th minute by Josh Murphy. Good old Josh Murphy scoring for Cardiff. 61% possession going to West Ham, 39% possession going to Cardiff. 17 shots with 11 on target for West Ham, 9 shots with 5 on goal for Cardiff City. Whew. I wasn't expecting. I totally forgot that Lucas Perez played for this team in the first place. And when I saw, I give it to him. The 2 goals are pretty great finishes. I wouldn't totally be hyped on him like having a run that's, the starting positions over Chicharito or Arnautovic.
Well, he came on because Arnautovic got hurt.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying.
So,
but I'm saying if Arnautovic were to come back.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to overcome him. I still think those guys are the top 2 guys, or the top 2 options for West Ham. But it kind of wakes the others them up to say oh, dude, Lucas can score, obviously, and they probably really needed this performance out of him as well, which is good. But yeah, 2 good finishes, like I said, but it's only Cardiff, so
yeah, that's true. But this was. These are games that earlier in the year West Ham have dropped points in, where they were very wasteful in front of goal. This, obviously, 17 and 11 on target. They probably could have got more than 3. But this was one of their more fluid attacking performances. They were pretty not unlucky per se, but they were this close to keeping a clean sheet. Fabianski had the penalty save in the 30th minute, I think, or something like that.
yes.
And then Murphy scored right at the very end of the game, so they're a little unlucky not to have a clean sheet out of this. But yeah, West Ham putting together a good string of results, hopefully for them. Definitely turning things around compared to what they were looking like, 6 to 8 weeks ago. I guess Cardiff got the win in the match day prior, so they are getting a little bit more points because they were at one point they were bottom of the league. I'm pretty sure they're not there anymore.
No, they're almost.
They're in 16th right now.
Yeah, but they're 2 points away from the
right.
bottom.
Yeah. But they've at least pulled themselves out of the relegation zone. So
at the moment.
Yeah, and the way West Ham are playing, I don't know that I would ever expect them to win this game. So
yeah, well, like I said, the way I think West Ham needs to set up is just set up with a 4-4-2 instead of the past formations. I understand Pellegrini's kind of method, but they definitely have lacked in the midfield for that, unfortunately. But let's keep moving. All right. Oh, actually, Fabianski had the penalty. Did we already say that?
yeah, I said he had the penalty save.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Snodgrass.
So I was talking about their clean sheet.
No, it was Arnautovic that had the penalty that he gave up. That's right, yeah. My bad, sorry. I blinked. I was in another dimension.
Okay.
Here we go. We got Brighton versus Crystal Palace. Brighton won 3-1 with a good old penalty goal in the 24th minute by good old Glenn Murray. Glenn Murray's hot.
Yeah, he is.
And then a goal followed in the 31st minute by Leon Balogun. I think that's how you say his name. And then another goal by Florin Adon. Jesus. I don't know why I can't say with simple words. In the 49th minute. Sorry, I don't know how to do math. In extra time, basically, in the first half. And then a goal. There was a red card. I forgot about that.
Yes, there was.
In the 20th minute because it's at the bottom of the list. By, unfortunately, Shane Duffy. A little silly. We've kind of seen this before. I think, Reed Charleston has had this red card. Marcus Rashford has had this red card. Similar thing with just like the head. It's not a headbutting.
Vardy.
Vardy.
Was
It's just like a nudge in a way. It's just like.
Yeah, he didn't strike the person with his head. They were like forehead to forehead, and then he like pushed into him, and the other guy fell over.
Exactly.
So this is always going to be Not that he ever like hurt the guy or anything like that, but that red card is always going to be given. Even though the reaction was definitely exaggerated, and he did it like literally square in front of the referee.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like, it was off the ball down the field or whatever. They were like, I think it was right after a corner.
Some kind of foul, like outside the box.
Yeah, and they were like, the guy got up off the ground, and then like they got in each other's face, and yeah. So
unfortunately,
that red card. The reality is that red card, probably should have put them in more danger of dropping points here than it ended up being. I mean, for being down a man, Brighton played a really great game against Crystal Palace. Because like I think they were up 3-0 at halftime, and 2 of those goals came after they were man down. So
yes,
they put together a really good, right? Yeah.
What was one of those a free kick? I believe, right? No.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
No, I think it was off a set piece, but it was like a cross in.
Okay,
I think that's what it was.
So yeah, this was a great performance for Brighton. Again, we were talking about the previous match day with Crystal Palace getting that 2-0 win. How inconsistent they are as a team, and I think this was a great opportunity for them to get a string of good results once Brighton were down a man, and they just weren't able to capitalize.
Definitely weren't able. They just were very sloppy, actually. Unfortunate. Let's keep moving.
Yeah.
All right, Bournemouth, Huddersfield Town. Here we go. Bournemouth won 2-1 with a goal in the 5th minute by a good old Callum Wilson. Then followed by a goal by his new best friend, Ryan Fraser, in the 22nd minute. And then Terence Congolo, I think that's how you pronounce it. This probably said something like they probably pronounce it differently, but that's how we pronounce it over here.
I think you're good.
In the 30th minute, or 38th minute, 33% possession to Bournemouth with 67% possession to Huddersfield. 6 shots with 2 on target for Bournemouth. 23 and 6 on goal for Huddersfield. This is the first time I've seen Congolo be in a highlight, I think, all year, or be like kind of have like attention on him, because I think he's on loan from Monaco.
Oh, I didn't think it was a loan deal.
Oh, is it not?
He was there last year, wasn't he?
Was he?
I think so.
But regardless, it's like the first good deed he's done for Huddersfield this year. If anything, the only other highlights he's been in is where they concede a goal. Yeah, Bournemouth is playing as Bournemouth has been playing, with great counterattacking abilities, starting from like midfield or coming off a corner or anything like that. The combination of King, Caw, Wilson, and Fraser has been very, very, very lethal. And then Fraser obviously is leading the league right now in assist, which is I think it's a good stat to be leading in. And it's really showing with these somewhat results through the year or this year, where they haven't been losing. They've been actually showing up and are able to kind of find a way to score. I kind of see how when they came up in the league, they were kind of like Burnley in a way. They were trying to figure out how to score, and Burnley has obviously this year has not been able to have the guy, but the Bournemouth has been able to put 3 guys together to do this, which is very very good. And then they still have Defoe on the bench as well, right?
I think so.
So, which is good. A lot of options. So
Jermaine Defoe is on the bench. Early, it looked like Bournemouth were going to run away from this game. I mean, it was 2-0 very quickly.
Yes.
And Wilson and Fraser have both had, as you were saying, excellent starts to this season. I mean, here we are basically like more than a third of the way through the year, and like both of them are still doing really well. King, as you mentioned, Brooks and Cook in the midfield are both playing really well this year. So even though this win for them was big because it ended a 4-game losing streak, but they've obviously been playing a little bit bigger opponents over the last month or so. But Huddersfield really went for it in this game. They just Bournemouth's only 2 shots on target were their 2 goals. So they were just clinical on the counterattack, and Bournemouth did a really good job in this game of absorbing pressure that Huddersfield was putting on them, and Huddersfield just weren't able to kind of pick their way through the Bournemouth defense. But it wasn't for lack of trying. I mean, they put a lot of men forward. trying to get back into this game and just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. So I don't think it was really a bad performance from either team per se. It was just Huddersfield were kind of, especially giving up such an early goal, Huddersfield were forced to play into Bournemouth's hands.
Yeah.
Because they were immediately basically chasing the game right away. So
doesn't say they're chasing the game. Let's keep moving. We got Manchester City versus Watford. A 2-1 victory for Manchester City. Goals opening up in the 40th minute by Leroy Sané. Sorry, I like saying it that way.
Okay.
And then another goal in the 51st minute by Riyad Mahrez. And then a goal in the 85th minute. I'm just going to say Decore. I think it's Abdoulaye Decore, but I'm just going to say Decore because that actually is kind of a cool name. 30% possession going to Watford, 70 going to Manchester City. 11 shots with 7 on target for Watford, 15 shots with 7 on goal for City. Floor is yours, young man.
This was another game very similar to the Bournemouth game where City definitely were not at their best. I don't think this game was as bad as the Bournemouth game, but Gabriel Jesus in particular was very wasteful. I think he could have easily had himself a hat trick in the first half to 60 minutes of this game. It took a really long time to get that first goal, and I think that the stats do make it look like a closer game than it was, because most of those, the Watford goal was just a complete scramble in the box with all these shots being deflected and the ball falling different places and stuff like that. So half of those stats that you see for Watford came in the last few minutes when they were just throwing everyone forward, trying to get back into the game. But I guess after City are just slowing down a little bit, it feels like, after having such a long string of games with a high number of goals. And they've been unable to keep a clean sheet for a few games now, and not getting the number of goals that we've at least been used to them getting against teams like this. And I think in this particular game, that just comes down to Gabriel Jesus. He's playing for Aguero, who is out with a little injury right now. I think he'll be back for Champions League this week coming. But, still not a great performance, but a good 3 points. Obviously, Liverpool nipping at our heels for the whole season because they refuse to drop points too. So,
But yeah, you're still turning in results. I think maybe missing De Bruyne to have that extra wave of creativity to just have goals just land at people's feet. I think it's unfortunate not to have him on the pitch.
And there were a lot of changes made to this team too. Sterling was on the bench and never came on. And then both Laporte and Otamendi were given, and we have Fabian Delph playing left back again because Mendy's hurt. So we basically don't have a left back. I don't understand why we haven't signed another left back, but that's, I guess, not for me to decide.
January window. Here we go.
No, Pep already said we're not going to sign anyone.
January window. Here we go. Okay.
I don't know.
But yeah. But it's also I would expect the City to win this way, and regardless, just on the way Sané scored, it was just you knew it was going in. I think there was a couple minutes before that where you're like, City's gonna score right now, and they did. Yeah. So when you have that kind of feel to it, it's it's good. It's better to have that than, oh look, Romelu Lukaku's.
By the time Sané scored though, we should have already had a couple.
Oh, yeah, that's true. All right, let's keep moving. We got Manchester United versus Arsenal in a 2-2 draw. Goals opening up by, I can't say Mustafi's first name again.
I think it's
Shakhtar.
Yeah.
Mustafi in the 26th minute. Then an own goal. Oh, no. Actually, a goal scored by Anthony Martial in the 30th minute. And then it's followed by an own goal by Marcus Rojo in the 68th minute. And then immediately on the kickoff, Jesse Lingard scored in the 69th minute. Manchester United possessed the ball 45% of the time to Arsenal's 55. 10 shots with 7 on target for Manchester United. 9 shots with 4 on target for Arsenal. First 20 minutes, I think we've kind of had these kind of waves of performances in the first 20 minutes where the pressure's on and we're putting the pressure on, but nothing comes out of it, I guess. There's no goals or anything like that. I've seen this happen several times. Excuse me, sorry. And just nothing just happens. It's just weird. I think we're really lacking like a guy behind Martial and Rashford. Even though Lingard was supposed to be that guy, but it felt like he wasn't like occupying that space. And then you kind of we kind of had a hole in the midfield in a way, so it kind of opened us up to like against like counterattacks, I guess. Is what I'm trying to say. But then before the Arsenal goal, it was basically the first 20 minutes was like we were putting the pressure on, and then after that it was like Arsenal all the way, basically in that first half. Obviously, conceding that goal to Mustafi was unfortunate. Obviously, De Gea, just a unfortunate position.
He was due for a mistake.
Yeah. And then Martial, though, responding off of a Leno deflection, basically, or not deflection, save, and it came back. I think Andres Herrera crossed it back in, and Martial just picked up the pieces.
Yeah.
And then, the own goal, unfortunately. Well, we started Marcus Rojo, so I mean, this is gonna happen. And
it was his pass that gave it away.
Yeah,
I mean,
that too.
for the counterattack.
Yeah, this is true. But we had answered back right with Jesse Lingard, who actually hasn't scored in like 26 appearances, I believe. Which is kind of not rare, but it is. He hasn't been himself, but obviously he scored and brought us back. But the end of the game was basically almost like a stalemate. Like they would have a chance, we would have a chance, and that was basically all she wrote.
I think that United were really lucky to get away with even a point in this game, because if you think of not only the way kind of the goals played out, but the other chances that were not converted, I think Arsenal had the huge lion's share of those chances. Even like right after it was 2-2, like Arsenal was 1-on-1 with De Gea twice and didn't score. So I think Arsenal will be kicking themselves if they didn't find a third goal. And then I guess of the goals that were scored, Rojo obviously giving the ball away, and then the own goal. I mean, I guess he's unlucky to have the own. It was his fault that they were in that situation, but if he doesn't make that tackle, I think Lacazette just puts that past De Gea, and if he does make that tackle, it's own goal. So like that was a lose-lose situation, I think. Scoring straight from kickoff like you guys did, I think it was Kolasinac that gave the ball, like took a really terrible touch in the box, and Lingard just like slipped right in, and finished past Leno. So I mean, good on you guys, I guess, but never ever do you see a team concede like that quickly straight from kickoff.
Yeah, well, Kolasinac, he's very like the announcers were talking about just his past history. He's a better left wing back than a left back.
Yeah,
he has more attack, so you have to kind of cover for him. But he's very mistake prone. Like watching him up close, he just makes a lot of mistakes, and he's always out of position. So I kind of would.
But I mean, how are you out of position like that straight from kickoff?
I don't know. I would expect someone like a player like that who's consistently playing like that in this kind of game. He was not playing very well.
Yeah.
So
I think the brightest. There are two things for United that I would take is that Lingard scoring finally. Hopefully that gives him some confidence, and Martial also continuing, but particularly Jesse Lingard getting a goal. And I think Eric Bailly did a really excellent job against Aubameyang for the majority of this game.
Yeah.
Especially once did Lacazette start this game or did he come on as a sub? I don't remember. He came on as a sub again. So especially once Lacazette came on and Aubameyang gets pushed out to that left wing. And Bailly playing the defensive right-sided center back for United. I think he did a really great job of keeping Aubameyang kind of out of the game.
Yeah, him and Diallo actually were covering pretty well. There was a couple crosses in where Diallo should have probably prevented it, but Diallo still had a decent performance. He tried to get in with the attack as well, which is like very good to see. But he was a little bit more creative than like a Valencia would.
Yeah.
Would do, but
is Lindelof hurt?
Yeah.
Because for me, the way that the game ended up playing out, I think you guys might have won that game if you had like Lindelof for Rojo.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like I don't like that mistake wouldn't have been made. It might have been a 2-1 win. Because as good as Bailly was on the right side of defense, Marcus Rojo was equally terrible on the left side.
Yeah,
of
and
defense.
also it was Rojo's first appearance of the year as well, which is like, what? But we'll see what happens. Honestly, I think we're also set up for failure like we did for the first game, just because it just looked like we were going to be very scrappy and have to like really not play dirty, but play physical. Just with Herrera, Matic, and Lingard in the midfield, was just like, oh god, this isn't how. I don't think this is gonna be good. Not to say like they're terrible. It didn't seem like a good combination. Obviously, Pogba was on the bench too, so it wasn't helpful.
And I felt like he was pretty useless once he came on.
Yeah,
I don't know
obviously.
like what his deal is at the moment, but
I don't know what it is either.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we got rid of Mourinho. We'll bring a manager in the next year, and we just let Michael Carrick just run the club or manage the club for the last
Ryan Giggs 2.0.
In a way, yeah, I think I can see that happening. Honestly, just for the end of the year, and then sign someone in the beginning of the year or beginning of the next season or the start of the next season. I guess I can see that happening.
Okay.
But yeah, let's keep moving. Everton, Newcastle United, a 1-1 draw. Scoring in the 18th or 19th minute, Solomon Rondon, and then followed by a goal in the 30th minute by Richarlison. 76% possession to Everton, 24% possession to Newcastle. 19 shots with 3 on target for Everton, 8 shots with 5 on goal for Newcastle. I'm trying to remember. There was an opportunity. Not that I want to be down on my boy yet DeAndre Yedlin, but it seems like he just there's just crosses he's not preventing for Newcastle. I know he plays with a lot of heart, but he's always just like a step behind in a way. Just this year in general, like there's a lot of crosses where he's not able to prevent from coming in.
The goal wasn't his fault though.
I know. I'm saying in general.
Like it was like
there was
it was like
I know.
a botched
I'm not talking about
clearance.
the goal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just in general.
All right.
So I'm just
randomly deciding to pick on DeAndre Yedlin?
Yeah, well, because like I like him, but like I'm also like you kind of have to, you gotta love him, you gotta like criticize him as well.
Dang. Showing that tough love.
Yeah, tough love. But I think he plays with a lot of heart, obviously. But I think Rafa Benitez has a lot of trust in him. And he's also learning as well. But there's always just like he's always like a step behind in weird crosses where the cross is like has a really good chance of going in the back of the net.
I guess if we're gonna sit here and bash on DeAndre Yedlin, I would say that I think he perhaps
I'm not bashing
how do I
him.
want to? I don't know. You literally 1-1 draw with Everton. You're like, let's talk about DeAndre Yedlin and the fact that he can't get to these crosses. Okay, I think that his downfall is that he is, I think, a little overconfident in his pace, in the sense of he is not necessarily as worried about his positioning as he should be.
Yeah.
Because he thinks he can just run wherever he needs to run, and so like that he gets caught out because of that every once in a while. I guess so. That's the end of me bashing on DeAndre Yedlin.
We're just saying no, just like because there's a thing I saw like in the highlight that I saw was like, yo, dude, you got to get to that cross, man. You got to stop that.
All right.
But I'm just saying.
Well, I definitely don't blame him for the goal, even though
Yeah.
it was his side of the defense, but it was a set piece, I think.
Yeah,
and it was like a botched
he was on the
clearance,
post. He was on the post.
deflected, and all this stuff.
Yeah, so
And it was a good finish from Richarlison. I think this was a good point for Newcastle, especially with the run results that Everton had going into this game. Everton were fairly wasteful, but still a good point for Newcastle. It was a really good goal from a very nice cross and a really good finish for Rondon at the back post there early in the game. And yeah, Newcastle just need to get as many points as they can to start clawing out of that relegation
definitely
area of the table.
All right, we got Wolves versus Chelsea. Wolves won 2-1 with a goal in the 18th minute by Ruben Loaf. Oh my God, Loaf. I can't say his name.
Loft.
I want to say Loaf though, because
Loaf is Loaf.
Okay, Loftus Cheek. Sorry, I want to say Loaf though. I don't know why I want to say Loaf. It's my brain. In the 18th minute, and then followed by a goal by Raul Jimenez in the 59th, and Diego Yota in the 63rd minute. Or is it Dilo? No, it's not Dilo. What am I doing?
I have no clue what you're doing.
I don't know. Anyways, 38% or 30% possession going to Wolves, 70 going to Chelsea. I don't know why Chelsea's in yellow on this. 6 shots with 2 on target for Wolves, 17 shots with 3 on goal for Chelsea. Oh, the second goal. No, was it the first? No. I'm trying to think if these were like scrappy goals or not. From what I remember, no, they weren't.
I don't
They're
think
pretty
so.
clean.
Yeah.
Yeah. A good comeback performance, I guess, in a way, giving up the early goal.
Yeah.
And
they were unlucky to concede. It was a
Yeah.
pretty big deflection.
That was the one that was okay.
It was the Chelsea goal.
Yeah, the Chelsea goal.
Loftus-Cheek dribbled in from the left onto his right. He was on like the left side of the box and shot, and it like hit the dude in front of him and then deflected to the left into the goal. So yeah, Wolves were unlucky to concede when they did, although Chelsea did have a couple of better chances that they failed to convert. Chelsea in general pretty wasteful, 17 shots, only 3 on target. I personally feel as though Wolves were almost owed points somewhere along the line, just because of the run of results that they had where they played fairly well. They had good performances but didn't get wins, like that Watford game, for example. That they had like a month or so ago now. So just games like that, they had a huge run of results where they weren't winning games, but they were putting in good performances. So Chelsea kind of went to sleep for about a 10-minute period, and Wolves hit them. Again, it's very similar to the Bournemouth-Huddersfield game where like the only 2 shots on target were the 2 goals, hitting them on the counterattack. And so that's another, I guess this is kind of their first, I would say, scalp of the season, where like they beat a top 6 team, but
They just hit me. I was like, "What?"
Oh yeah, but they do have They have a 1 point against Arsenal, point against United, point against City, and then beating Chelsea. So they've actually done pretty well.
No, they lost to Spurs.
Yeah, they lost to Spurs. But even that game, the 3-2 loss to Spurs, was a game that they probably should have won. They had a goal incorrectly ruled out offside. So anyway,
unfortunate.
Yeah.
Let's keep moving. Fulham, Leicester City, 1-1 draw. You want to say Kamara's first name for me, please?
Abubakar.
Abubakar.
Sure.
Is now his name. In the 42nd minute, opening up the goals, and then a goal followed by James Maddison in the 74th minute. 45% possession going to Fulham, 55 going to Leicester. 25 shots with 7 on target for Fulham. 13 shots with 5 on goal for Leicester. Ranieri's return against his old team. Obviously, it's a little like, oh, hey guys, I used to manage you, but not anymore. Decent performance, I guess. Unfortunate not to get the win. Obviously creating more chances than Leicester, but who hasn't created more chances than Leicester besides probably like United, But yeah, that's all I have for this game.
This was probably, this was Fulham's, I think, best performance under Ranieri. I think they were a little bit unlucky not to win this game. I think that was Kamara's first goal ever for Fulham. Or at least first goal this season.
Yeah, didn't you say it was his first appearance?
It was his first appearance of the season.
Yeah.
I don't know about if he was even with them. I don't know. I'm not sure if he was even with them last year. But yes. And then good on James Maddison for. Has it already been like 2 weeks since he got the second yellow for diving? I feel like he didn't miss a game.
No, there was like a cup game that he served the suspension for.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's all English Federation.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's like a cup game.
So good on James Maddison for continuing his contributions to Leicester when they need it and making sure that they get a point out of this game.
Yep. All right, we got Burnley versus Liverpool. Liverpool won 3-1 with a goal opened up by Burnley by Jack Cork in the 54th minute, but it was followed by James Milner's 62nd minute goal, and then Roberto Firmino in the 69th. And then I can't say Shaqiri's first name, but I'm not going to say it. In the 91st minute, Zerdan Shaqiri, right? Zerdnan. 26% possession going to Burnley, 74% possession going to Liverpool. 10 shots with 6 on goal for Burnley, 18 shots with 12 on target for Liverpool. This is what obviously not a very good first half. But the second half obviously was opened up. They were like, "Well, we gave up a goal, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start picking this up." And then it was off a corner that rebound back to Milner, I believe. That had the finish. Or was it a free
No, there
kick?
was a couple passes before it.
Okay.
It wasn't a free kick.
And then Firmino's goal was that was the one that was off the free kick because it was Van Dijk that crossed it back in.
Yes.
Or centered it back in, and then Firmino, and then Shaqiri, a great pass in from Salah.
Which came after a great pass. I forget who it was that passed it to Salah. They like lobbed it over. Salah ran on. Like the ball bounced once. Salah bounced it back over. I guess it would have been maybe like Tarkowski's head.
Yeah.
And then a great finish from Shaqiri. That was a really, really amazing goal.
Probably. No, it's not the best goal Liverpool scored this year. That was Sturridge.
No, that Daniel Sturridge goal against Chelsea is going to stand out for the rest of
He's
the
like, I'm gonna put this in orbit.
It felt like, especially the first 60 minutes, it felt like this finally might be where Liverpool dropped some points. But that goal ended up really waking them up. They played much better following the Burnley goal, and it was a super scrappy Burnley goal too. They had about 4 chances to put it away and finally barely got it across the goal line. So Liverpool not necessarily playing well, but getting the 3 points, so good for them. Burnley, they had a 2-0 loss the game before this, so starting to get a little streak of a drop in points here. Obviously, you would never really expect them to take points from Liverpool, but a little bit worrying for them. So
Yes. Let's keep moving. We got Tottenham versus Southampton for the last game of the review. It was a 3-1 victory for Tottenham. Goals opened up in the 9th minute by good old Harry Kane and his team. Then in the 51st minute, Lucas Moura in the 51st minute. And then another goal by Heung-min Son in the 55th minute. And then Southampton got one back by Charlie Austin in extra time in the 93rd minute. 52% possession to Tottenham. 48% possession to Southampton. 13 shots with 8 on target for Tottenham. 18 shots with 5 on goal for Southampton. I think it was it Højbjerg that had it was Højbjerg that had the shot on goal, and then Armstrong actually put it wide. And I don't remember the timing of that goal, but it was basically in between, I think, the Harry Kane goal and the Lucas goal, I believe. I want to say.
Where they missed that chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they could have tied it, and then maybe it might have changed momentum, but very much the way I would expect Tottenham to kind of put a team like this away.
Yeah, but I think that the scoreline doesn't give enough credit to Southampton. They were obviously wasteful, which is why they didn't score more than the one goal that they had. But it was a good, I think, still a good performance from Southampton. They Harry Kane nicked a goal at that near post, but on the replay, the pass before the cross, Lucas was offside and it wasn't called, and then he crossed the ball into Harry Kane and he scored. Or no, he got a corner out of it, and then on the corner Harry Kane scored.
Yes.
So that's probably not a goal that should have happened. And then the third goal, I forget who it wasn't Bertrand, but
no, Bertrand didn't play.
Yeah, I know. But it was whoever was playing left back for Southampton gave the ball away to Harry Kane on the corner of the box, and then he crossed it into Son for the third goal. So this could have very easily been 1-1, and then you look at some of the chances that Southampton missed, and you think that it was very possible that this game could have gone the other way. Actually, even though 3-1 result, they were very even on possession and chances created throughout the course of the game, and so I think 3-1 is a little bit kind to Spurs.
Yes, I also believe that as well. But yeah, another 3 points for Spurs. They're trying to keep it alive in a way, I guess, but it would have to be a complete collapse of the other teams for them to catch up. All right, young man, stats. For the last 2 weeks, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang continues to lead the league with 10 goals. Then Harry Kane and Sergio Aguero are right behind him, with Harry Kane with 9, Sergio Aguero with 8. Ryan Fraser continues to lead the league with assists with 7. Sergio Aguero continues to lead the league with 55 shots. Idrissa Gueye continues to lead the league with 62 tackles. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is right behind him again with 54 tackles. Philip Billing is now the new third-place man with 49 tackles. Allison is now the new leader in clean sheets with 9. And
Burnley leads the league in long balls.
oh no, it was Joe Hart. Super Joe Hart. I was waiting for you to say Super Joe Hart.
Oh, we didn't say Joe Hart.
I know, but I was like, I thought you were like would remember.
Am I supposed to read your mind that you were going to say something
I
about
thought
Joe
you
Hart?
remember the order how I do this, but that's what it was. With 69 saves,
Oh, okay.
leads the leagues.
So he's like super duper Joey Hart right now.
Yeah, 69. Yeah. With a lot of 69 in this episode.
I mean, 2 goals and 1 number of saves. Sure.
Last 69. Wins. Manchester City continues to lead the league with 13 wins. Right behind them is Liverpool with 12. Spurs with 11. I think this is new. Burnley leads the league now with the losses with 10.
I think that is new. Yeah.
Manchester City continues to lead the league with 286 shots. West Ham leads the league with 301 tackles. Huddersfield is right behind them with 299. Southampton is in third with 275. Chelsea is continuing to lead the league and has meet the 10,000 mark with 10,658 passes. And long ball leader continues since day one, or match day one, is Burnley with 1,117.
Didn't work so well for them the last couple of games.
Yeah, unfortunately. Shall we get into match day 16, sir?
Let's do it.
All right. First game of the week at Vitality Stadium. We got 2 versus 7. We got Bournemouth versus Liverpool. Who do you got?
Bournemouth finally did get themselves a win in their last game after having a 4-game losing streak. But Liverpool are not the team necessarily that you want to be playing if you're trying to keep a streak alive. So I'm going to go with Liverpool, even though Liverpool have not been playing to their full potential over the last few weeks. But as we've been saying, like Bournemouth have been doing well on the counterattack. But Liverpool are the kings of counterattack. So I think that Liverpool are going to be... I don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 3-4-1 win for Liverpool.
I would say like 4-2.
Okay.
I'm going to go Liverpool as well. One Football app agrees with both of us. Right? You
Surprise.
with 89% going to Liverpool, 3 to a draw, 8 to Bournemouth. All right. We are going to the Emirates. 5 versus 17. Arsenal versus Huddersfield Town. Who you got, sir?
Arsenal are coming off a decent performance against United, and then the game before that against Spurs, probably like their best attacking performance. At least one of their best attacking performances. You said this game was at the Emirates, right? So another home game for them. Huddersfield, a little bit unlucky losing that 3-1 loss. Let's see, am I mixing games up here? They lost with that red card. They lost 2-1 to Brighton.
To Brighton, yes. Yeah. And then they that was Cardiff that beat Wolves.
I'm blanking on it. In any case, Huddersfield, perhaps a little bit unlucky their last couple results, but I think the way that Arsenal are playing right now, they're not going to be able to withstand that, especially being a home game for Arsenal. So I'm going to go for Arsenal.
Okay. I'm going to go with Arsenal too, even though Huddersfield's actually been playing kind of aggressively, which is like very good to see.
Oh, it was the Bournemouth loss.
Yeah.
They had a whole bunch of chances against Bournemouth, but lost 2-1. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunate. 92% going to Arsenal, 2 to a draw, 6 to Huddersfield Town.
Dang.
No love. We got Burnley versus Brighton, 10 versus 19 at Turf Moor. Who you got?
Even though this is a home game for Burnley, I am going to go with Brighton. I think that they've been doing fairly well over the last couple weeks. And they just need to keep riding, I guess. Glenn Murray is is grossly overperforming this season. But as long as Brighton can keep riding that train, then they're gonna do it. So, because I mean, he's up at what you probably read his name in the goals. He's probably up at like 9,
I think
8
it
or
was like
9.
10.
Okay, maybe even 10.
He's
So
like
I mean,
2 or 4 away from what he had last year, basically.
yeah.
Already.
So he's like keeping them afloat basically single-handedly. Because like without his goals, they would be bottom of the table where Burnley are right now. But I'm gonna go with Brighton. I think they're just the better team at the moment.
I'm gonna go with Burnley. I feel like this is gonna be a game they need to win. It's at home for them, and I think they're gonna perform. They're gonna show up this game.
All right.
Sammy Vokes, you're here first. Okay. 49% going to Brighton because it agrees with you. 12 to a draw. 39 going to Burnley. We got another set of bottom teams. We got Cardiff versus Southampton at Cardiff City Stadium. 16 versus 18. Very important game for both of them. Who you got?
I think I'm actually gonna go with Southampton. I think that again, very similar to some of the other teams we talked about already in these previews, like their performances not necessarily reflected in their results. And that loss to Tottenham in the midweek, I think, that scoreline didn't quite show how even I felt that game was. So I definitely think Southampton are capable of winning this game, and so that's why I'm going to go with them.
I'm going to go with the draw. I feel like Cardiff is going to have to try to score in this game, which might open them up, but I feel that Southampton has the ability to also open themselves up and have them get scored. I feel like both teams are going to go for it in this game. They're going to have to. And then I think that's going to lead to a draw. Probably like 1-1. So 57% going to Southampton, 12 to a draw, 31 going to Cardiff City. Next, we got Manchester United versus Fulham. It's at Old Trafford, 8 versus 20. Who you got?
I actually think this is a very good game for Fulham to have right now. New manager, familiar, obviously, with his time with Leicester, with playing United, and playing United with a lesser squad. I think United are struggling basically on all fronts right now. And if Fulham can push United the way that, say, Southampton pushed United early in the game and get themselves an early goal, I think they can cause a lot of problems for United, even though this is a home game. So I'm really tempted to go with Fulham, but I think I'm going to go for another draw because United have always seemed to like kind of claw their way back. Like they were 2-0 down to Southampton, came back. They were down twice to Arsenal, came back both times. So you guys haven't been losing games per se, but still dropping points. So I'm going to go for a draw here.
Do you think if United loses this game, they sack Mourinho?
No, I don't think they sack Mourinho ever this season.
Okay.
He makes this because the problem is that he just signed a 5-year contract. So like you guys are going to literally have to back a Brinks truck up if you're going to sack him.
I know.
Because you'll have to pay him the rest of his contract.
I know. What happens if it's like a 2-0, 3-0 lost?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I think so. I think this game, not that he needs to win this game, but he needs to not lose this game.
I think the Champions League's already gone though.
I know, but I'm just saying, like, why have someone? Why have Deadwood
qualifying for next year's Champions League?
We got Manchester. I'm gonna go to United, but I wouldn't be surprised if they lost.
Okay.
United 70%, 5 to a draw, 16 going to Fulham.
Okay, a lot of brave Man United fans.
Yes, sir.
Voting on the One Football app.
We are going to the London Stadium. We got another London derby, sir. West Ham versus Crystal Palace. 13 versus 15. Who you got?
I am going to go with West Ham. They've been playing a lot better. We talked about the transition in our review of the last couple games. We talked about that transition to the 4-4-2 and how playing 2 up front has really helped them. They are going to be without Arnautovic, but if Lucas kind of getting a new lease at life.
I don't think it's running the 2 strike. I think it's having more midfielders to protect the back line.
But they have less midfielders with a 4-4-2. I mean, less
but they have like
midfielders.
2 actual midfielders that are in the midfield. They're not having one guy all alone by himself, is what I'm saying.
But it wasn't okay. Whatever.
It was a 4-1, 4-2, but
Right.
or
so
no,
you have,
4-1,
that puts 3 people. in
4-1. Yeah,
the middle.
but
Right, that puts 3
the two guys that were playing were basically they weren't even.
Okay. All right.
They're attacking midfielders.
I think it's the two up front that's helping them.
I don't think it is.
And they have had 2 really good games, 2 really good results. And Palace, as I've talked about earlier in this podcast, are very inconsistent in as far as like their performance. So I think West Ham, this being a home game for them, I'm going to give West Ham the edge.
I'm gonna go with the draw in this game. I feel it's gonna be like a 1-1 draw, or 2-2. I think Crystal Palace has it in the score counter attacking goals. Even though I think West Ham probably wants them to possess the ball equally or more than them, so they can kind of avoid that. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're gonna control the game, but I think Crystal Palace will probably nick 1 or 2, and I wouldn't be surprised. 73 going to West Ham, 9 to a draw, 18 to Crystal Palace. We got the game of the week. Chelsea versus Manchester City at Stamford Bridge. We got 1 versus 4. Who you got?
I'm obviously contractually obligated to go with Manchester City. But I'm a little bit more comfortable doing so, even though City haven't been playing so well. But the game that Chelsea had against Wolves, I think that if they play similar to that against City, I think we could win this game quite comfortably. But I'm a little bit concerned. I feel that it's possible that we played this game very similarly to the way we played Liverpool away. This is at Stamford Bridge, right? You said?
Yeah.
So another away game against like a big title contender. So it's very possible that we're going to play much more conservatively like we did against Liverpool. And Chelsea, at their best, are definitely capable of giving us problems.
Okay.
And without, I think, hopefully Aguero's back for this game. I think Otamendi and Laporte should be back. Left back is going to be a little bit concerning. Having like Zinchenko or Delph there and not a natural left back could be a problem, especially against Sarri and like the system that he tries to implement. But if Chelsea are definitely capable of breaking us down, but if Chelsea kind of divert into this like just give Eden Hazard the ball, I don't think we're going to have very many problems. So I'm going to go with City. I'm going to say 2-1, close game. But yeah.
If it was like Chelsea like a month and a half ago, I would be more lenient to them. But since the way they've been playing lately, I'm not going to.
I think this is a really big game for them because like a loss here puts them out of the title race.
Yeah,
I feel like so.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with City. 60% going to City, 8 going to a draw, 32 going to Chelsea. Yeah, because like Liverpool and City are just the ground is just getting bigger and bigger each week, and a loss.
It's already turning into like the two of them. Where like a couple 2-3 weeks ago it was like 3-4 teams within like 6 points. Now it's like Liverpool and City up here, and now it's starting to spread out of the top a little bit.
All right, we are going to King Power Stadium. We got 3 versus 9. Spurs versus Leicester City. Who you got?
I know I haven't felt that Spurs have really been playing particularly well over the last couple weeks, but Leicester have been struggling. They had the 2-0 win at Watford last weekend, but for the most part, they've been struggling with a lot of like 0-0, 1-1 results. And I think that Spurs are definitely capable of scoring more than that, and I'm not confident that Leicester are going to be able to answer that. So I'm going to go for Tottenham here. I think maybe like a 2-1 again victory, close just because Spurs aren't necessarily playing that well. And I don't think Leicester are going to make the sort of mistakes that Southampton did last week or in the midweek. So, but I am still going to give the edge to Spurs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Spurs as well. I think it's a must-win just because the way the title or the table's setting up.
Because Arsenal have caught them now, too.
Well, I mean, regardless, it just...
Or not, sorry. That's Chelsea and Arsenal that they caught. Sorry.
Because like we were
Tottenham
talking
in third.
about the review and like how they're probably out, but if they, for some reason, there's a collapse in the top 2, they need to consistently perform to even stay in there. And like they still have the same amount of wins, or almost. They're only like 1 win behind Liverpool, 2 wins behind City, but they're still that many points away. It's kind of not looking good. Too many draws and too many losses. So they need to really show up in this game and get 3 points, I think. But yeah, I think they're going to win. I think they have more quality. So 75% going to Spurs, 6 to a draw, 19 going to Leicester City. We got the one game on Sunday. It is Newcastle United versus Wolves at St. James's Park, 12 versus 14. Who you got?
I'm going to go for a draw here. Newcastle got the draw in the midweek against Leicester, right?
Everton.
Oh, Everton, that's right. Blue jerseys throwing me off there. Yeah. So it was a better performance from Newcastle. And I guess this will be, I think, a bit of a litmus test for Wolves in that, like Chelsea, like we've talked about this now for a while that like, Wolves seem to struggle against teams that don't want to just come at them.
Mm-hmm.
So now that Wolves kind of proved their point again against another top 6 team, taking points off of them. Like now they're going back to playing like someone more on their level, where like the onus is going to be on them to go forward and create chances and not just hit people on the counter.
Yeah.
So I am going to go for a draw. I do feel like the most likely outcome is Wolves win this game, but I'm going to go for a draw because I just don't feel like Wolves are there yet.
Yeah, because they're going to be playing against Newcastle, who allows just people to possess the ball. I think they're probably the team that's had the most weeks where the teams have like possessed the ball probably more than 70% of the time. Just from what I've seen, and I wouldn't probably like if I would look it up. I don't think I'm probably that far off. But I'm gonna go with the Wolves because I think they're gonna be able to figure something out in this game. They're probably gonna get like some kind of scrappy goal to win it. Just because of the way I think Newcastle's probably gonna set up. But I think maybe this is a week where Newcastle comes at them. Maybe, who knows? We don't know yet until we watch the game, I guess. So 58 going to Wolves, 8 going to a draw, 33 going to Newcastle. All right, our final game of the week. It's Monday Night Football. We got Everton versus Watford, 6 versus 11 at Goodison Park. Who you got?
I'm going to go with Everton in this game. I just think they are the better team, even though they are coming off that draw to Wolves. To Newcastle. I knew it was like one of the teams that we were just talking about. I think that we'll see a little bit of return to form for Everton that we've seen over the last few weeks. And, yeah, I just give them the edge over Watford. I think they're the better team. So I'm going to go with Everton.
I'm going to go with Watford on this one.
Okay.
I think with what Everton had last week, I think, not that it's going to bring them down, but I think Watford has a better team than Newcastle to where they can set up, hopefully defensively, but also haven't been the same. They haven't had the same setup the last couple or last month of like the players that they did in the beginning of the year. Maybe that's because of injuries, rotating guys in, getting guys in that have more confidence. But I feel like Watford can take this. Honestly, I have a gut. It's my gut. It's my gut, and I like the way they attack, going through the center of the park.
Okay.
But One Football App does not agree with me. 76 going to Everton, 8 going to a draw, 16 going to Watford. Do we have any other big games in Europe this week?
In the Bundesliga, I don't know that we necessarily need to run through like whole previews. The current leaders, Borussia Dortmund, this isn't necessarily, I guess, a big game in terms of the table because Schalke are in 12th. But Schalke and Dortmund are traditional rivals, I think, even more so than like Dortmund Bayern. It's much more of like a bigger rivalry for the fans anyway, in any case, than like the more direct like title contenders with Bayern Munich. So there's that game in the Bundesliga. A Friday game in the Serie A, Juve versus Inter, which is obviously a really big game there. However, at this point, Juve are already so far ahead that, I mean, they can afford to lose this game and not have to worry, really.
Yeah, they're with 40 points. Inter has 29.
Yeah, so there's an 11-point gap there in the Serie A table. So
if anything, Napoli is going to be rooting for Inter for sure.
Of course, yeah. But not as big a game probably as it should be, just because Juve have once again proven to be just better than everyone else in that league. I'm looking in the La Liga really quick. Not seeing anything significant. French league, unless PSG is playing like one of the other big teams, then.
What other big teams?
Hey, they've dropped points twice though. Now they have
I
2
understand
draws.
that. Yeah, I know.
So so that's probably about it. So just the Dortmund Schalke game and the Juve Inter game.
Yeah, I think actually some of those games are being delayed or something like that, or postponed because of all the riots, I believe.
Oh, okay.
So like the Nice, Monaco, PSG, like all those.
Are they ever playing
Bordeaux,
that?
Lyon.
When are they still? Are they still at some point playing the second half of the Copa Libertadores?
Oh, that's gonna be.
Is that this weekend?
The Bernabeu.
Yeah, I know they moved it to Madrid, but is that this weekend? It could be.
I think it is.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah, I
there's
forgot
that game
about
too.
that.
Yeah.
Because of all the stuff that's
So
happening.
it's
down there.
River and Boca.
Boca, yeah.
Yeah.
Which sucks. I mean, it would be better to play that game in front of your fans, but
Well, it's weird because what's gonna be weird about this is that River, I think it was, got to play a home game
Yeah.
because it's a 2-leg final.
mm-hmm.
So like one of them got a home game and the other one now has to go play away at Madrid. So it kind of sucks.
Well, you gotta control your fans.
Yeah.
That's it. That has been it, ladies
Words.
and gentlemen. I cannot talk today. I have been the host, Richard Verdillo, joined by the man with the noggin right across from me, Jacob Bullard. That has been Across the Pond, where two American boys talk about the worldwide world of soccer/football. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the College Avenue channel and liking the video. If you're listening on audio, thank you for listening on SoundCloud, iTunes Podcasts, or Google Play. Consider following us and subscribing to us and giving those sweet reviews and hearts and kisses. And we shall see you guys in the next edition of Across the Pond.
Nanu.